Greetings, seekers of truth, and welcome to Rima of God. Today, we're diving into one of the most dramatic and, frankly, bizarre stories in the Old Testament. It's a story that reads like a divine thriller, a cosmic showdown between the God of Israel and a silent, stone idol. We're talking about the time the Ark of God spent a 3-night vacation in the Temple of Dagon. Our story is found in 1 Samuel, chapter 5. The context is one of deep national tragedy for Israel. They have just suffered a devastating military defeat at the hands of the Philistines at Ebenezer. In a moment of desperate, superstitious folly, the Israelite elders decide to bring the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh onto the battlefield, treating it not as the seat of God's holy presence, but as a magical talisman, a divine good luck charm. The plan backfires catastrophically. The Philistines not only rout the Israelite army, but they capture the Ark itself. For Israel, this was the ultimate theological crisis. The symbol of God's throne, the very footstool of the Almighty, was now in the hands of the uncircumcised. The Philistines, flushed with victory, take their prize to the city of Ashdod. They bring the Ark into the temple of their chief god, Dagon, a deity often depicted as half man, half fish, a god of grain and fertility. In their minds, this was the ultimate act of dominance. They weren't just defeating Israel's army. They were displaying the superiority of Dagon over Yahweh. They placed the Ark of the God of Israel right next to the statue of their own god, as if Yahweh were now Dagon's footstool. This is where the story gets intriguing. The Philistines go home that first night, congratulating themselves, but when the priests of Dagon open the temple the next morning, they are met with a shocking sight. The great statue of Dagon had fallen on its face, prostrate before the Ark of the Lord. Imagine the scene, the panic, the confusion. The priests would have rushed to lift the heavy idol back into place, muttering prayers, blaming an earthquake, or perhaps a clumsy night guard. But the text implies no natural cause. It was a deliberate, humiliating act. Dagon wasn't just knocked over. He was positioned in a posture of total submission, face down before the God of Israel. But this was only Act 1. God was just getting started. The next morning, the priests return, and they find an even more horrifying scene. Dagon has fallen again, but this time, it's not just an act of submission. It's an act of desecration. The statue's head in both its hands were cut off, lying on the temple threshold. Only the torso, the Daganda, fish part remained. This is rich with symbolic meaning. In ancient warfare, to cut off the head and hands of a foe was the ultimate sign of their total defeat and powerlessness. The head represented their authority in life, the hands, their power to act. The Philistine god was now a decapitated, handless stump. He could not think, he could not rule, and he could not act. He was utterly impotent. And where were the pieces? On the threshold. The very entrance to Dagon's house was now defiled by his own broken body. The message was unmistakable. Yahweh doesn't just defeat other gods and mocks them. He renders them a laughingstock. But the story doesn't end there. The writer of 1 Samuel adds a final, grimly humorous detail. That is why, to this day, the priests of Dagon and all who enter the temple of Dagon do not tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod. Even the Philistines, in their superstition, were inadvertently creating a ritual that memorialized the power of Yahweh. They were so terrified, they started worshipfully avoiding the very spot where their god was humiliated. And as if the dismemberment of their national deity wasn't enough, the Lord's hand was heavy upon the people of Ashdod and the surrounding territories, afflicting them with tumors, likely a reference to the bubonic plague. The captured trophy was becoming a catastrophic curse. So, what is the RHEM at the Living Word for us today? From this incredible story, the moral is this: God will not be co-opted, and he will not share his glory. The Israelites tried to co-opt God's power, treating the ark as a tool for their own purposes. They failed. The Philistines tried to co-opt God's glory, claiming Yahweh as a spoil of war for their pantheon. They failed even more spectacularly. This story is a powerful warning against our own modern forms of idolatry. We may not bow to statues of Dagon, but we often try to place God alongside our other gods, our careers, our wealth, our ideologies, our personal ambitions. We think we can put God in a box, in a temple of our own design, and have him bless our agendas. But the God of the Ark is a consuming fire. He will not stand beside our idols. He will topple them. He will break them at the threshold. He will demonstrate, often in ways that disrupt our lives profoundly, that he is utterly sovereign. He is not a good luck charm, a political pawn, or a supportive character in the story of me. He is the king, and every knee whether in heaven, on earth, or in the temples we build to our own pride will bow. The Ark in the Temple of Dagon is a bizarre, almost comical story, but its lesson is deadly serious. Come to God on his terms, in reverence and holy fear, for he alone is God, and there is no other. Thank you for joining us on Ream of God. If this word resonated with you, please subscribe and share. Until next time, seek his truth.